Hello guys, happy blessed Friday. Now we're playing catch up with our stories. When the stars aligned with Vanessa and Nico and Topsy Tickletown, which is that way. And we're going to catch up tonight with those because we've been offline for a while and we're getting back together. So let's have our two stories tonight. And chapter 4 in When the Stars Aligned is called Through the Lens and the Sketchbook. Now, if you remember, we left Nico and Vanessa sheltering under the storm, sharing an umbrella. So let's see how we're getting on now, guys. So this is chapter 4 of When the Stars Aligned, Through the Lens and the Sketchbook. The morning after this storm, it felt like a different world. Seabreeze Bay had been washed clean, as if rain had swept away more than just the dust from the streets and the salt from the air. The sky stretched wide and clear, a soft endless blue, and the ocean shimmered under the early sunlight like polished glass. Vanessa noticed it at the moment she stepped outside. Everything felt sharper, brighter, or maybe it was just her. She paused on the steps of her cottage along Harbour Street, her sketchbook held loosely in her hands. The events of the previous evening lingered in her mind, not as something overwhelming, but as something quietly steady. The way Nico had held her, the way he had looked at her, and the way everything had changed without either of them forcing it. She exhaled slowly, a small smile forming without realising it. But for the first time in years, the future didn't feel like something to fear. Nico was already at Windward Park when she arrived. The park stretched wide along the edges of the bay, its rolling green lawns dotted with wildflowers, and be anchored by the massive oak trees that had stood there longer than anyone could remember. Their branches twisted skywards, leaving leaves whispering softly in the breeze. Nico stood near one of the trees, adjusting his camera, his focus intent but relaxed. There was something different about him too, something lighter. "Hey, Vanessa," he called. He turned, and the moment he saw her, his expression shifted into something warm and unmistakably genuine. "Hey." No awkwardness, no hesitation, just ease. Vanessa walked towards him, the grass cool beneath her sandals. "You're here early." "I could say the same," Nico replied, echoing their words from the pier. But this time there was a quiet playfulness behind it. She smiled. "I couldn't stay inside." "Good," he said, "because I was hoping you'd come." There was a brief pause. Not uncomfortable, just filled with something unspoken. Then Nico lifted his camera slightly. "Come here," he said, "I want to show you something." They spent the morning beneath the oak trees, where sunlight filtered through the leaves in shifting patterns of gold and green. Nico handed Vanessa his camera, guiding her gently as she adjusted the focus. "Don't just look at what's there," he said softly, standing just behind her. "Look at how it feels." Vanessa tilted the lens towards the horizon, capturing the curve of the bay, the moment of the water, and the way the light touched everything it reached. "Like this," she says. Nico leaned slightly closer, his shoulder brushing hers as she looked at the screen. "Yeah, exactly like that." His voice was quieter now, closer. Vanessa felt her breath catch, not from nervousness, but from awareness of him, of how naturally he felt to stand close to her. "Your turn," she said after a moment, handing the camera back. Instead, Nico shook his head. "No, I want to see how you see things." Vanessa hesitated, then slowly opened her sketchbook. For a moment she wasn't sure why he felt so different, why showing him this part of herself felt more vulnerable than anything else. Maybe it was because there wasn't just what she... Maybe it was because this was just what she did. It was who she was. She began to draw. The oak trees, the curve of the grass, the distant shimmer of the ocean, but more than that, the quiet stillness between them, the way the light seemed softer when shared. Nico watched her in silence. Not just the movement of her pencil, but the way her brow furrowed slightly in concentration, the way her fingers moved with quiet confidence, and the way she seemed completely present in the moment. "You don't just draw what you see," he said finally. Vanessa glanced up. "What do you mean?" "You draw what it means," he replied. The words settled between them. Vanessa looked back at her sketch and then at him. "I think that's what I've always tried to do, even when I didn't realise it." Nico nodded slowly. "That's what I've been missing." She studied him, sensing the weight behind his words. "From photography?" "From everything," he admitted. They moved closer to the water as the day stretched on, settling near the edge where the grass met the sand. The tide was low, revealing smooth stones and small pools that reflected the sky like mirrors. For a while they talked about simple things, favourite places, childhood memories, small moments that had shaped them. But eventually the conversation deepened. It always did. "My dad used to take photos like this," Nico said, his voice quieter now. He picked up a small stone, turning it over in his hand. "He was always chasing something bigger than where we were." "Did he find it?" Vanessa asked gently. Nico let out a soft breath. "I don't know. I think maybe he didn't realise what he had while he was looking for." Vanessa understood more than he said aloud. "And you?" she asked. "What are you chasing?" He looked at her, then really looked at her. "I don't think I am anymore." Her heart skipped. "I think," he continued slowly, "I just want something real, something that doesn't disappear the second you look away." The words lingered heavy with meaning. Vanessa felt something shift inside her. Not fear this time, not hesitation, but recognition. "I used to think staying here meant I was stuck," she admitted, "like I was afraid to leave." "And now?" Nico asked. She looked at the water, then back at him. "Now I think maybe I was just waiting for the right reasons to stay." Silence followed. Not empty, not certain, but full. And as the sun began to slowly descend, painting the sky with a soft gold and pale pink, they made their way back towards the pier. The town buzzed gently around them, distant laughter, music drifting from open windows, the hum of life continuing as it always had. But for Vanessa and Nico, everything felt shifted, as if they had tilted just enough to bring them closer together. And at the edge of Seabreeze Bay, they stopped. The same place where it had all begun. "Funny," Nico said softly, leaning against the railing. A few days ago, this was just a place." Vanessa stepped beside him. "And now?" He looked at her, quiet smile forming across his face. "Now it's where everything's starting to make sense." Her face warmed at that. The sky deepened, the first stars beginning to appear, faint but steady. Vanessa closed her sketchbook, holding it close. "You know, I think this might be my favourite drawing yet." "Can I see?" Nico asked. She hesitated for just a second, then handed it to him. He studied the page carefully. It wasn't just the park or the trees or the water. It was the feeling of the day, the quiet connection, the way two separate lives had begun to intertwine. "It's beautiful," he said softly. Vanessa watched him, her chest tightening slightly. "So is yours," she replied. Nico looked up, confused. "Mine?" She nodded towards his camera. "You're just starting to see it again." Their eyes met, and this time there was no hesitation, no uncertainty, just a quiet, steady understanding that whatever this was, whatever they were becoming, it was real, and it was just beginning. So there we go, guys. That's Vanessa and Nico. Now we'll go to chapter 5 tomorrow, when the stars align, for chapter 5, which is simply Summer Nights, where their relationship becomes more playful and romantic. Boardwalk lights, laughter, deep attraction, and moments that feel almost magic. So there we go, guys. Their romance is deepening. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for joining me in Storyteller's Corner. We're playing catch up now with these stories, so I wanted to get them out there to you guys because I know you've been following them, so I didn't want to just abandon them. So there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a lovely Friday, guys. Friday evening here. Take care and God bless. Bye bye.